Hi guys, welcome to my channel and my first YouTube video. I'm so happy I finally did this. I've been watching YouTube for so many years. Since I was 12 years old, I used to watch Panacea 81, Pixie Woo, Michelle Phan. Those were my three favorites. I've always had a passion for makeup and I can't wait to share all the things that I've learned along the way with you. If you like all things makeup, then go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time I upload a new video. Now let's go ahead and jump into the review. So I've been seeing this around Instagram a lot. It's the e.l.f. Camo CC Cream. Color correcting, full coverage, natural finish with collagen peptides and niacinamide. Has a broad spectrum of SPF 30. It says to apply 1 to 2 pumps of the CC cream to clean skin using the e.l.f. Complexion Duo Brush to achieve an airbrushed finish. Whereas a moisturizer and full coverage foundation depending on your needs. Apply liberally 15 minutes before sun exposure. Reapply at least every 2 hours. I'm using the color Light 280N. The colors, as we all know on e.l.f., aren't very broad. They kind of stick to about 10 or 12 shades, and this seems like it might not match me. I considered getting the lighter one to mix in, but let's just try it out and see. We can even it out with our concealer and powder anyway at the end. I'm gonna use a sponge on one side and my Real Technique brush on the other side. This is also the Real Technique sponge. I really like it. Also, comment down below if any of your puppies chew on your brushes. I'm gonna do 1 pump. If it'll come out. Whoa. Okay, that's very little. Let's do like another one. There you go. So right off the bat, it is very thick actually, which I kind of suspected because CC creams tend to be a little bit thick. They have a lot of skincare ingredients in them, and especially with the SPF. Sometimes I feel like that can make a lot of products thicker. I'm just gonna apply this on half of my face. Get my hair out of the way. I'm gonna start with the brush first. So as you guys can see, I have, acne prone skin, I have scarring, I have pores. So I really wanted you guys to see how this works on this kind of skin, because it really is no point to see how this works on someone who has perfect skin and then they tell you it has full coverage. But how do they know it has full coverage if they don't even have any acne to cover? So here I am being the guinea pig for you guys. And I'm gonna show you guys if it covers anything. Let's see. Okay, it covered the redness really well. This does look a little orange and dark for me right off the bat. On the camera, it doesn't really show. It's actually looking like a little yellow on camera, but in person it looks a little orange. Okay, so the coverage is really nice. I'm gonna say that the coverage on this is a high medium. For reference, when I think of like a full coverage foundation, I think of something like the Kat Von D Lock-It Tattoo Foundation. That you can use as concealer and cover anything. That's my range of like what a full coverage foundation really is. For a CC cream though, this has a lot of coverage and I'm actually really surprised. And the finish is actually really nice. Wow, yeah, so this looks really, really pretty on the skin. And this is coming from someone who has a lot of texture on her skin. I have ice pick scars. I have scabbiness from active acne that I've been treating with, benzoyl peroxide. This looks great, I think. It does have a nice glow to the skin, but I really appreciate that it's not dewy because I'm really not a fan of that. I think it just makes you feel sticky. Living in a very humid area, most girls down here don't really like that feeling, and of what I've seen, a lot of girls try to achieve the dewy look by like highlighters, but the foundation definitely needs to be like gripping and like stay on the skin, because with the humidity here it's just gonna slide off in 2 seconds as soon as you walk out that door. I'm gonna do my forehead. Oh, I covered that pimple really well. I'm gonna do half my nose. All right, so there's half the face done. It looks like I either have a nice tan or I have jaundice because on the camera it looks really yellow. For now, this is fine though. I can always bring it down my neck, which I'm gonna do right now. So I'm gonna move on to the other side. So far I haven't used all of it. I still have like that much left. I'm gonna go ahead and use the rest on the other side of my face using the Real Technique sponge. And I'm actually going to get the foundation with my finger and put it on my face that way. The reason I like doing it this way is because when you pat your sponge straight into your foundation, it kind of pushes the foundation into the sponge and then you lose a lot of product. So I like to do it this way. So I'm just gonna blend this out. And this is a wet sponge. Okay, right off the bat, the sponge absorbed like half of the product. Yeah, definitely with a brush, you get way more coverage. Maybe if you're looking to have a day with less coverage, maybe this would work best for you. All right, so let's see how this looks. It definitely looks lighter on the sponge side, obviously because the sponge absorbed some of the product, so it's gonna lay less product, but you're also gonna get way less coverage. So I would say medium coverage. It's definitely not light. I mean, I have a nice even base on. So it depends on what you want. If you want lighter coverage, then use a sponge. If you really want to get the most coverage out of this CC cream, then go ahead and use something like the Real Techniques. I believe this is called the Expert Blender, but I'm not sure. I'll link everything down below. So I'm gonna blend the sponge side down to my neck too, which I don't have much to blend out because the sponge isn't giving any more product. I think it looks good both ways. I think the coverage is good regardless. So if you feel like you tend to have a heavy hand with foundation or whatever, then go ahead and use a sponge. And that goes with any product foundation. If you're not sure how much your face really needs, then a sponge is a good way to go because it's gonna always absorb a little bit of the product and it's gonna shear it out well on your skin. It's also really good for people who have dry skin because when you wet a sponge, that little bit of water really helps for the product to like sink into your skin and make it look a little bit dewier, a little bit more moisturized. Using the sponge to go over everything, but if I were to use this, I would definitely probably use the brush because then I can get all the coverage that I want and then I can go over it with the sponge to kind of get the finish that I want. So that's how I would use it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually just going to get like the tiniest bit more, like that much. I'm just gonna put a little bit more on the sponge side so it matches. You definitely don't want to apply too much all over your face in places that you don't need it because then it's just gonna look cakey. I'm gonna blend it way down my neck because I look super pale compared to this. All right, so let me zoom in so I can show you guys what it looks like. I think it looks really nice. For a CC cream, to have this much coverage is actually pretty impressive. I think that this is a great product if you're looking for a lot of coverage and also maybe you're going on vacation, you want a lot of coverage, but you're gonna be under the sun a lot, then this is great. So I don't think I mentioned, but this was $14 where I got it from in Target. I don't know if you can find it cheaper, maybe on the website or in a different store, but I don't think that's such a bad price, especially being that it's a CC cream and it gives you so much coverage. I think it's a good product. I think I recommend it to a lot of people. The only downfall about this is the shade range, so it kind of sucks that I'm in between two shades. But you know what? You can always mix this with another lighter foundation or maybe your concealer, which I do a lot. I mix it in with my concealer a lot. It should work out fine. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest of my makeup and then we can see how it looks at the end. Currently, this is the concealer that I'm using, the Revlon Photo Ready Candid Concealer in 015. I'm actually going to show you guys a little trick. So I have some leftover foundation on my hand. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna apply some concealer on top of it. I know I look so weird with my under eyes like this, but then I'm gonna get a brush like this and I'm just going to mix the concealer in with the foundation. What that is going to do is that it's going to create kind of a warmer shade and it's gonna match to my foundation a little bit better. And I'm just gonna cover like some spots that didn't get covered with the CC cream. There, everywhere. And I'm actually just gonna go in with my finger, a clean finger, obviously, and then just blend out the edges. The reason I like going in with my finger is because I feel like it warms up the product a lot better than if you would use a brush. So it helps to blend it in, smooth out all those edges. You also have a little bit more control. Like for instance, I want to leave a lot of coverage on top of the acne. So I'm trying not to go on top of it, but more around, just like that. So I'm just gonna blend on my under eye. I also like to use my finger because I feel like it blends it out way better. And I use my ring finger because this has the least amount of pressure because we're trying to avoid wrinkles. So you see how just applying the concealer already made it look like my foundation is a little bit lighter just because we balanced it out. So now it just looks like the perimeters of my face are a little bit darker and I have some brightness here at the center. So I learned this technique from probably my favorite makeup artist here on YouTube and in the industry. Her name is Lisa Eldridge. I'm sure a lot of you know who that is. And she really helped me to completely change how I do my skin with foundation. She taught me how to do pinpoint concealing, which is basically what I'm doing right now. Saving the areas that are still good on your face and keeping them as bare as possible, and really concentrating on covering only the areas that really need it. And ever since I've been using that method, my foundation has looked way better. I used to want to cover every inch of my face, and she helped me realize that I didn't have to cover every inch of my face. There were still parts of my face that were completely fine, that they didn't have any acne, they didn't have any scarring, and I should let those areas breathe and shine through. All right, next I'm gonna go in with the Milk Makeup Lip and Cheek in Work. I actually got this for my birthday and I've been loving it, from the Sephora little birthday gift that you get on your birthday. I'm just gonna use the same Real Techniques brush, apply it on the apples of my cheeks. For my under eyes, I'm going to use the e.l.f. High Definition Setting Powder. This was super popular a couple years ago, and then people just kind of stopped talking about it, but I think it's still great. I'm just gonna get it with the e.l.f. Flawless Concealer Brush. There's a lot of e.l.f. in this. I really like e.l.f. So I think they're affordable and their makeup is sometimes just as good quality as high-end makeup. I'm just gonna tap under my eye first, tap away any concealer that has settled into the fine lines, and then I'm just gonna set. Another reason I like this powder is because it doesn't give any color and it doesn't remove the color underneath either, so it's really nice. Actually, you know who got me into this? Shannon XO. I've been watching her for so many years. Remember she probably still is. She's obsessed with the Bare Minerals brightening under eye powder, but I think one time she tried this and she liked it too, so I've been using it since. You know, I also feel like this e.l.f. CC cream kind of blurred my pores. It's pretty good. It is settling a little bit on my lines on my forehead, but honestly that happens with every single product that I use, so I don't think it's e.l.f.'s fault at all. So I also want to show you guys another trick. So I have like a little red mark right here, and it's right in the center of where my blush is. So what I'm gonna do is I still have some leftover foundation and concealer mix on my hand. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick up some of that on my hand. And I'm gonna pick up some of the blush. And I'm just gonna make a little mix on the back of my hand. So it's gonna have a little bit of the blush and a little bit of the concealer. And now I can go over that area and it's gonna blend in to my blush. Because if I were to just go in with my concealer over my blush, then I would have a white spot over the pink area. So I'm trying to camouflage that. And I'm just going to cover it with that little mixture. All right, next I'm gonna do a really simple eye look. So I'm gonna get some of my concealer, put a little dot right on top, and I'm gonna blend it out with my finger. As you guys can see, I like to use my fingers a lot because I feel like they just blend out things a lot better, much better than a sponge. The warmth from your finger can't be imitated by any brush or sponge. So, and it's a free tool, so just use your fingers. I'm actually going to use the Lorac Pro 3 palette today. I posted a look on my Instagram, which if you're not following me, I'll link my Instagram down below. But it was my look for Valentine's Day. It was a very casual look. I didn't go anywhere too special. So the first eyeshadow I used was clay. I'm just gonna get some of that on my brush. And I'm actually using a brush like this. I don't see a lot of YouTubers use brushes like this, but I actually like the precision that it gives, and it's fluffy enough that it blends out the edges too. So I'm just gonna apply this to my crease. I'm rubbing off some of that excess. And just blend out back and forth the edges of that color. Don't worry too much if it goes a little bit into your brow bone. We're gonna put a highlight there, so that's gonna help us blend it out later on. I like to pull it out a little bit because I feel like that makes it look a little bit more natural. So I'm gonna go in with the color Canvas, which is like a neutral shade. It kind of looks like my skin color, and I'm just gonna go over the edge right underneath my brow bone, and I'm just gonna kind of continue blending that clay color up to my brow bone, and that's gonna diffuse the color for us so we don't have any harsh lines. I mentioned in that post that I really like the Lorac Pro palettes. The reason that I like them is because they're very user-friendly. If I have no idea what to do with my eyes, I just pick out one of them and you have all the shades that you need to create any kind of look in those palettes. I recently got this one, the Lorac Pro 3, which is a lot warmer, has a lot of rosy hues in it, which is perfect for Valentine's Day. Another tip is that anytime you pick up an eyeshadow, top off some of the excess powder that you pick up. That way it doesn't fall on your face. I'm going to pick up the color Rose Bronze, which is this one, and I'm gonna use my finger again. All right, and I'm just gonna apply this all over the lid. It almost looks like my lid is wet, but it's just 1, 2, 3 eyeshadows that we used. I'm gonna use my blending brush again, and I'm just gonna blend out these edges. So the next thing I did in that look is that I created a liner using eyeshadow. That's one of my favorite things to do. It's way quicker than using liquid eyeliner, and it looks way more natural, and it's way more forgiving. I'm just going to take the dark brown in this palette, and I'm just gonna create a little wing, just like that, and then bring it in. So just like that. So a good way to line up the wings is just look straight forward into any mirror. I'm just gonna use the mirror that I have here, and I'm just going to create the line at the same angle. And then once you have that, you can set your mirror aside and you can just connect the line that you drew to the middle of your eye and kind of fill it in like a triangle. You see? So you see how with powder, it's way more forgiving. Like you can't even see the lines that much and they look a little bit blurred. So that's why I really like using powder whenever I want to create an eyeliner and I'm too lazy to use liquid eyeliner. The next eyeshadow I use is Almond Pearl, which is this one. It's a shimmery. You could even use the highlighter that you use on your face. You don't really need to use an eyeshadow for this. And I'm just gonna apply it to the inner corner, and I'm gonna bring it up a little bit to this section. So I know that looks a little bit crazy right now, but what I like to do is again use my finger and I just pat it out. So when you do that, it really opens up the inner corners of your eye. And I'm gonna bring it here to the beginning of my under eye. To about the middle of my iris. Next, I'm going to take a little bit of clay, that first color that we used. I'm going to use the same brush, that little pencil brush. I'm going to take off any of the shimmer that is left on there. And I'm going to take a little bit of clay and run it on my under eye. Close to the lash line. I'm not going for any like smoked out look or anything. So I just want a little bit of definition. I know a lot of you must be saying, why isn't she doing her eyebrows? But I'm just going to leave that towards the end. I don't know, I find eyebrows kind of boring. I just kind of fill in where I need to. I don't do anything too crazy with them, so I'm gonna leave them towards the end. This is probably my favorite makeup tool of all time, the eyelash curler. I have always said that I could live with an eyelash curler and blush, and that'd be fine. Next, I'm gonna use probably my favorite mascara since high school, the Maybelline The Falsies Volume Express in Berry Black, and I always use waterproof. I hate non-waterproof mascara. It just does not work for me. It doesn't keep my lashes up no matter which formula I've tried, high-end or low-end, and it always runs too. I have allergies, my eyes water all the time. I'm not gonna deal with it, okay? So waterproof is what I always use, and I always recommend for anyone who has really tiny straight lashes that just don't hold a curl, try waterproof. I promise you, it's gonna hold a curl a lot better than the traditional formulas. So, and I also wanted to mention, if you don't feel like your mascara is doing anything to your lashes, one, it might be dried out and it's time for a new mascara, or two, you're not applying enough. I've done makeup for a lot of girls and they're actually always shocked by the amount of mascara that I put on their lashes, even if I'm putting on fake lashes. And that's because you need to put on a decent amount of mascara to catch every lash and really push them up. So try that out. If you feel like it's not really doing anything, try and put on a little bit more mascara than you're used to. And so once after the first coat is done, I always go in for a second coat, a little bit of a lighter second coat, but it always helps to like darken them a little bit more and make them a little bit thicker. All right, and that's it. I didn't put any mascara on my bottom lashes just because I was going out in the day and I don't really like to darken up my lower lash that much during the day. All right, the next thing I'm gonna do is use this very broken and used Too Faced Chocolate Soleil Matte Bronzing Powder. I still have product in it, so I'm not gonna throw it away. So I'm gonna apply that in a 3 and E motion where you would usually apply your bronzer. And I really want to use this one too. I don't want to use a shimmery bronzer because I really want to see how the dewiness of this CC cream stays. Even though it is pretty, I think it mattified pretty well, but it's still definitely a little bit tacky to the touch. I find that it's a little bit drier on my forehead actually if I touch it, and it is kind of accentuating a couple of the lines, but it's really not that bad. It's way better than a typical foundation, I will tell you that. So I'm just gonna apply bronzer. And I always like to stay above my cheekbones. So this is the hollow, and I always like to stay above. I'm gonna use any excess to go under the chin and the jawline, and then you can drag it down to your neck. Always try to do whatever you do to your face as far as like bronzer and foundation and color down to your neck as well, so that way it looks cohesive. Another thing you can do if you feel like it's looking a little bit patchy is you can go in with your sponge, just kind of go over everything. That's really going to help to kind of blend in everything. You can always go back and forth and blend and blend. Especially under the eye, the little bit of humidity, little bit of dampness that's in your sponge is really going to help to blend in your under eye powder and kind of like help, I want to say mush, but not mush, blend it into your skin. All right, and then I did use a blush on top of the cream blush. I used the ColourPop Between the Sheets blush, which looks like this. I've hit pan because I really like it. And I'm gonna use, I just go ahead and get some product and apply it more towards my cheekbones. All right, next is highlighter. So I use Becca's Moonstone, which Lisa Eldridge got me onto this highlighter. I believe she likes using like the liquid version of this, or like the backlight filter, but I have the powder and it's beautiful. So I'm just gonna use this Wet n Wild fluffy brush. I think I got this like at the dollar store, but it works great for highlighter. Just gonna pick some up and put it right on my cheekbones. I'm also gonna pick some up and put it right under my brow. It's gonna give it a nice shimmer. And it kind of lifts your brow a little bit. I'm also gonna pick some up and put it on the tip of my nose and just down the bridge. I also like to put a little bit above my brow bone. Helps to make it look a little bit dewier. I don't know if you guys can see that. All right, so let's do brows. The last thing. Well, my lips too, almost forgot. All right, so for brows, I like to use powder. I feel like it looks the most natural. And I like using the e.l.f. eyebrow kit, and this is in the medium shade, and I just use the powder. that's in here. I'm going to use it with just a little angled brush like this. I'm not really looking to create little hairs. I'm just kind of going to shade in some gaps in my brows. But first, I'm going to use a spoolie like this, and I'm just going to brush up my brows. And I'm just going to fill in any gaps. Again, I'm not really looking to shape it, and when I pick some up, I'm actually going to tap it on my hand because I like to take off any excess. You can always put more, but you really can't take away. I mean, you can't take away, but you're just gonna have to cover it up, and it's better to work with a little bit of product at a time. Here towards the front, I just kind of push the hairs up a little bit with the brush. So next, I'm actually going to take the same spoolie, and if you don't have a clear eyebrow gel, just use hairspray. So just use a spoolie and spray it, and then just comb your brushes up. And I just push my eyebrows up. I'm not too into the really bushy eyebrow, but I do like it to look kind of natural, so I'm not gonna stick them all the way up, but a little bit, just to make them look a little fluffy. Lastly, I'm gonna show you guys how I did my lips for that look, and I used the Jones Road Cool Gloss in Nude Beige. But first, I'm gonna line my lips a little bit with this Rimmel Lasting Finish lip liner in 1000 Kisses. I'm gonna go in with the gloss. I really like this color, and it smells like menthol. It smells good. It smells like, it's kind of weird, but it smells like floss, but it smells good. And next, I went in with the Jones Road Miracle Balm. This is in the color Dusty Rose. So I like this because it has like a little shimmer to it. It gives a really pretty, see, like a little brightness there to the center of the lip. All right, and lastly, if you're going out in the day, I really recommend that you use a setting spray. I really like the Urban Decay All Nighter spray. And that's a finished look. So really simple. I think that it really accentuates just everyone's natural beauty. It doesn't, you know, it's not a lot of makeup. You're not gonna feel like you're wearing a bunch of makeup during the day, especially. And I think that this CC cream looks great. I love how it's looking on the skin, how it's laying. It is a lot of coverage, but like I said, I don't think that it's full coverage. But I kind of like that. I like that you can still kind of see your skin through it. I think that's what makes it look so wearable and light on the skin. It really doesn't feel like I'm wearing anything on my skin. So yeah guys, that's my review on the e.l.f. Camo CC Cream. If you guys want to know a little bit more about how it wore and stuff, go ahead and follow me on my Instagram page. I'm going to post a picture on how it held up. I have some places to go and do some errands today. So, and yeah, leave a comment down below if you've tried this. Let me know what you think of it. If you think it was long wearing, let me know if any of you have tried it and it's oxidized on you. If you have acne prone skin, let me know if it broke you out. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It's gonna help me out a lot. Subscribe to the channel if you like to see things like this. I have a lot of reviews planned, a lot of makeup looks planned, and I'm excited to share them with you. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. I'm finally free! Ah, my bone! Look at the camera. No. Look at the camera. Oh, bye!